Hi guys, it's Shauna. Welcome back to my craft space. Today I am working on a 3-envelope journal made from junk mail. These are just the privacy envelopes. I am using this Recollections Marsh flower paper pack that is so beautiful. It's got all kinds of gold foiled papers. Just really fun, and I'm excited to use those. I've got some great mulberry paper out here that we're gonna have some fun with. I've got a little bit of this ribbon, lace, or whatever, burlap, a little bit of burlap, that's what it is. And the way I'm gonna start this base is, let's move this out of the way. I've taken 3 envelopes here. These literally were just mail that I received, junk mail envelopes. This one doesn't have a tab on it. It's been ripped off, so I trimmed the edge. We'll mostly trim the edge. Let's try again. Okay. And the other 2 have tabs on them, so we're gonna take this one and stick it inside of this one. And I'll go ahead and glue this down here. Now I did use, you can see, I did use some of that paper and stuck it in here to glue down so that when you're looking through this privacy window, you'll see this pretty floral pattern. And then this little border here is a piece of envelope that or napkin that I've decoupaged on there so that we've got this pretty lace pattern. I will go ahead and ink everything once we get this base going here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some glue on this. I'm using a liquid glue. Feel free to use whatever kind of glue strikes your fancy. I want to be a little heavier with the glue on this part because it will be kind of the stabilizing piece holding it together. And once you get these pieces glued in, it's really super smooth sailing from there. Okay, and since this one has no tab, I just want to make sure it's in there nice and good and all sealed up like it should be. Now, once you get to this outside piece, you can use your burlap here or ribbon or a piece of fabric, some washi tape, whatever you want to secure the spine a little better. And I'm going to do that once it's dried a little bit here. So I think that's going to be the front piece. That one's going to be the center. And then this one, there's a lot of ways to glue this on. You can glue it back here and make it trifold like this, but my only concern with doing that is that since these are privacy windows, it's going to cover that up. So if you weren't using this one, that would be great. But since I do want to use it, I'm going to go ahead and put glue just on the tab here and glue it right down like this so I get the best of both worlds. It's still a trifold. I can still use this privacy window and then the other one as well. Something on the glue here. There we go. All right, so lots of glue on this tab. This is a great use for these envelopes. Makes a really pretty little journal. Pretty simple little project. Nice size that comes together fairly quickly. Great gift if you're looking for gift options. Okay, so I just want to make sure that these line up good. Got them in the right place. And that everything closes like it's supposed to. So, got 1, 2, 3. And then we still have these pockets here. So 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be the start of a great little journal. And then I do have a signature. I've got to decide where I want to put in here. I might put it in right here once this dries just a little bit. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry just a little bit, and then we'll be back to start decorating and get that signature all put in there. All right, so the envelopes have dried and I've progressed on just a little bit here. I did do a lot of inking around them. I've got it all clipped up right now because I'm gonna put the signature in here, and I thought I'd bring you guys along for that. I did want to point out I made this cute little template. It was for a smaller journal that I was working on, but it's come in quite handy. I did some scoring so that I could figure out where I wanted the holes to be. And then for this one, I just used these 3 holes, and it worked out perfectly where I wanted it to go. So I do save these. This was made out of a piece of file folder, so it's a little more sturdy. I've got my holes poked and my thread is ready to go. I use this big yarn needle so that I can see to thread it on my own. And I poked these holes big enough, I hope. So I'm just gonna do a pamphlet stitch here. Eek, the clips is coming off. I'm using embroidery floss for the binding in this blue color because there's a lot of blue pages. Okay, and then go back up this one. Hopefully you guys can see that. There we go. I went down the center hole, back up, either the left or the right, doesn't matter, or the top or the bottom, however you want to call it. This is still attached here, my thread, so that way I only have to use just what I want and I don't need to make a whole bunch extra. Okay, so I went down the center, up from the bottom on this one here, and then we're gonna skip the center on this one and go here. And then this is the way to do it if you want it to tie in the center and not on the back of on the spine. Mine's gonna tie right here. So let's see what we've got going here. There we go. Pull it a little more snug. We've got plenty of thread here. So I think I'm gonna pull some of this thread back out because I don't need all of this. Okay, that's about perfect. Now we'll do the center hole. We have to come back up. And then we'll pull everything snug and tie it. And this needle just pulls right off. I love this needle because the eye is really big and it's kind of blunt here, so when you're stabbing it through paper, it doesn't do a whole lot. And it's actually metal, so it's pretty sturdy. And the usual crafter problem, where did the scissors go? Oh, there they are. They're just hidden. Okay, so cut this off. Now, when you tie these for the pamphlet stitch, you want to make sure that that center thread, you have one of these on each side. So the center thread lays in the center here, like that. And then we'll pull it snug and give it a tie. Just a square knot, which is good because I don't know many knots. Oops, what did I do? There we go. You can give it as many ties as you want, and then you can cut this as short or long as you want. I'm just gonna let it dangle there until I figure out what I want to put on it. Take these clips off now. Okay, let's take a peek at where we're at. So this is the little signature that I made out of these beautiful little papers. We'll give it a good crease. These I left a little bit long. This is a Maggie Holmes card. So it's like a make your own card from this box here. And I had no idea that these would be at Ross, but they were. It was only $3.99, which was a great deal. And there was several patterns. So I pulled one of those out to use in here, and I'll probably make it like a little, well, like a flip out or something like this, but we'll see. So that's why that's long right now. And then one of the papers in the pack was a big round circle, so I just used a portion of it so that I could have this cute little cover on the front here, like of the signature. And then we've got a lot of beautiful papers in here. Now, some of these papers I did do a, the pattern paper and the paper pack are single-sided. So a lot of these I put book page in here, and I think I might glue it to make a pocket on these single-sided pages. But what I was really excited about was that I put the book page through my die cut machine with an embossing folder, so they have a little bit of texture. And then this one I did texture like just in the center, and I'm just going to highlight this with some ink. This is just a Distress Oxide Faded Jeans, and you can see how easy that is. It's got like I said, I ran it through the die cutter with an embossing folder. And I'm just gonna put that little texture in there. And then some of this I'll cover up a little bit later as I'm working in this journal. But I thought this would make a great pocket on here. Let's go ahead and glue that down. And then with some other paper, some trims or whatever. I think it's just about time to switch to another glue, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, so just glue these sides, and that'll make a nice big pocket on the inside there. And this, I just had a piece of cardstock that had this little ruffles on the bottom. So I left it hanging here so I can do kind of a shorter piece. That's just a coffee dyed piece of book page. And some mulberry paper, and I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use my water pen along the edge and really fray it out so that it looks like a totally different texture in here. More beautiful paper from the collection. Again, I left it up against this white here. This one doesn't have any embossing, but there is another one that does somewhere. And you notice some of these patterned papers, like most of them when I was flipping, it's white and then white and white and white. But these ones, I just, when I was putting it in the book, instead of doing always like this, I went like this. So the pattern paper, the pattern side was pattern to pattern on this one. And this one has a fun pattern too. Let's go ahead and put some ink on there. We'll use that same one and we'll reveal what design this one has. I think this one goes all the way across. Yeah, these were Tim Holtz embossing folders. It's so fun. It reminds me of those books from when I was a kid in the 80s that you used a little pen and you could color over it and it would reveal a pattern or a design. So much fun. That doesn't look so great right now, but you know, once we put some decorations and stuff on there, it will look really nice, I think. More book page. This one is actually in here upside down, but I plan to cover most of it anyways. I really was mostly after just this edge. There's some more mulberry paper. Here's the rest of that. Just a decorative edge cardstock. This is basil cardstock, so it's got some texture on one side. Oop, here's some more of those fun dots. Let's color them in. If you don't have a die cutting machine to run this through, you can, I saw a YouTube video the other day of a lady using a pasta maker, and she just put her paper inside the little embossing folder. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Just make sure we're on the same page. So this is one of the embossing folders from Tim Holtz. So you just put your paper inside of here and close it, and then you run it through like a Sizzix machine or a Cuttlebug or whatever that you have. I use my e-bosser, but this lady on YouTube was using her pasta maker, and I just thought that was so great. But if you don't have any of that, you could put your paper in here, and then really you just need to apply pressure. They work by squeezing. So if you set it on like a piece of wood and used a mallet, you could get that same pressure in there. You just want to be careful because, you know, these mats weren't necessarily intended to do that. So probably not a recommended manufacturer's use for them. But, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. So just apply some pressure to that and you'll get these designs like this, which is so much fun. And you saw we just ran some ink over that to get the color. And like I said, I'm gonna decorate these edges here so there will be more than just this little scribble in the middle. Make this into our pocket. This little envelope journal I think is going to be one of my favorites. I've got some really great junk that I'm going to put in here. And I think it's going to be great. Now this I purposely left here like this. I didn't want to put too much because this is also a pocket, but this may also get in the way. I don't know. We're going to have to see. My idea was to put some eyelets on here and hang some extra charms. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And then once I get these all folded in, which I think we'll do this one like this. We could actually make that a little pocket. And then maybe this one we'll do a little more. Okay. So now our envelope will actually close up like this. And I gotta re-glue that. Let's put some glue back on there. I put a decorative napkin back here, and then when I inked it, it got a little carried away. And I've purposely left some room around these privacy windows because I'm gonna put some trim there. Got some really fun lace and burlap to put on here. I think it's just gonna be great. Okay, so I think the burlap I may put right here, so it has a little extra support for this signature string that I put in here. I'll just cover it up like this. Be kind of pretty, I think. And I really like these little, like I planned this out. I usually do this with my wrapping paper if I can too. I like the design to just kind of continue on even though it's been a cut piece. So you'll see that a lot in my, my work. All right, so I had some inserts cut out to put in here, cover up these envelopes on the inside. I think I may clip this together while I'm trying to work in here because it's pretty thick and that'll help it lay flat too. All right. So this page, I did notch it here with the hole punch because I think I want this page to go in here. And I plan to leave a little bit of room on the edge here so that I can put some trim. Now, the signature papers, if you're not very familiar with junk journals, can be anything that you want them to be. Mine have some scrapbook paper, as you saw, mulberry paper. Sometimes there's envelopes. Oh, and that's right. Speaking of envelopes, I was going to put one of these cute little coin envelopes in here to be like an extra little flip. And I wanted to glue it in before. I think we may need to make it be a little extra of a flip here. So my envelope is just a little bit too big, so I'm just going to make it have an extra little bit of a flap, and I will cut this off before I glue it in. Yeah, and that's about perfect. So you can see I just folded it a little bit more there. And we will just cut this piece so that it's still a perfectly functional envelope. Okay, so now it folds right here, gives a little extra room. And we'll glue this in too. Sometimes I ink these before I put them in. Sometimes I ink them as I'm ready to go with the paper and stuff that I'm going to put on them. Not sure what I'm going to put on it yet, so just going to do the inking once it's all dried and in there. Come on, glue. I think just about every glue that I have is totally camera shy. If we turn the camera on, it's like, no, you can't glue. Okay, well, let's let that try to come down. We'll just share glue with this piece I already put glue on. Kind of spread it around a little bit anyway, so it'll be great. Okay, so this, I was just gonna stick here on the edge. And then we'll put this decorative piece on here to cover up that flap. Now we could also put a little glue on this adhesive to make that envelope adhesive stick as well. Now when I was gluing this, I just put the glue around and not actually on here. So I don't want to glue everything shut. I love the colors of this paper pack. The blues and whites and off-whites, it's so much fun. Okay, and I think this one, I might still just cut a little bit more. I might even go as far as to put some trim or something on that later. Let's see, but there, now we have another little flip, and that's really cute. Also, I noticed when this was drying, because I had started gluing this side and I had left it to dry, it got quite saturated because the liquid glue was seeping through the paper. So you want to also make sure that these don't stick together, otherwise you will lose your pocket. I think this is the one for here. So now your envelope sizes might be a little bit different. I think mine was, what did I say? It was like 9. Let's see. Yeah, it's almost 9.5. And then across it was a little over 4 inches. So I just used junk mail envelopes. The only thing I paid attention to as far as the size is that they were all the same size because I wanted them to work well together. I also paid attention to where the windows were lining up because I wanted to use those. And then when I was getting them ready to put in here, I used my X-Acto knife or a blade and made a slit by the windows down here. I just held it like this and made a little slit here so that I could put a tag in the window. And on one of the windows, I already put some paper in the back. Whoops, that's still drying. I put paper on the inside of the envelope, like in here. Down here, so that when you pull the tag out, you see pretty patterned paper rather than just the white of the envelope. And you can do that if you want to, or you don't have to if you don't want to. But I think it just adds an extra, like a little nice touch there. Okay, so I think this one I might also do the little punch here. And all I did for this was just kind of tried to find the center, which was right about here. I'm an eyeballer, you guys, because I don't like to measure everything. You can measure to the center whatever you want to do. Just push this. When you have these double ones, make sure you don't push the little one too, because we only want this larger one. There we go. And then you can either trace around here or you can leave it. This one actually doesn't seem like it's as tall. There's no paper right there. So I think I'm gonna not worry about it for this one. This envelope must be a little different on the fold because this one I definitely had some to cut away. And then I used a little bit of gold ink